So let's wait for a couple of more minutes for people to join and I will start the session. So today would be a demo session and yeah, so for the next two more sessions, it will be a demo and after that it will be only for the paid candidates. Okay, so I will explain it anyhow, but yeah, just for your information. Yeah, I guess we can start the session. So once again, thanks all for joining today's session. So today's this batch is about Linux administration, and it's like batch number is 225. And yeah, so this like for the next two slides, it is just information. And yeah, so like today is the first demo session, and it will be spanning for next 4 more weeks. And it's approximate. It might extend depends on your questions or any doubts. So yeah, at least it would be 20 plus sessions would be there. And you can scan here to register. So this is a QR code and this is for your PDF reference, like what is the course content and all, right? So, and if you're having any doubts regarding anything, uh, like to log into the portal or you're having issue with the notes or recording, any issues, you can reach out to one of these numbers and you can drop an email to this support@Logic Labs Tech. Okay, so and this recordings will be lifetime and you can access via the portal, right? And this is with the course fee. So I will explain it once again at the last about the course fees and like what and all will be covered anyhow. And yeah, so this is the general information that the first three sessions, as I told, would be a demo, and the fourth session or depends on the people joining. So it might extend the demo session, but maximum it would be like 5 sessions. It would be demo, and after that, it will be only for the paid candidates. The link will be shared. Okay, and I hope already you might be part of this WhatsApp group for this session. If not, please do join with this link. So let me just copy paste this link in the chat. So this is for our session. Okay, so just click on this link. It should redirect, and if it's not, do let me know. Yeah, so this is the actual WhatsApp group link. Okay, so yeah, if you click on join, you will be part of that group. And why you should be part of that WhatsApp group is so that is the only way of communication we usually follow in Logic Labs. That like if I'm not available during a day or anything related to our course, it will be communicated through only WhatsApp. Okay, and you can I will show you the portal as well, but it's like a graphy portal, and all your recordings, notes, everything you can access through that portal only. And this is the important thing that only Monday to Saturday between these working hours, right? So 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST, the support team will be available. And anyhow, you can drop an email. They would respond during this working hours, right? And the same numbers you can find it here. Okay, so yeah. So a little bit about myself, Karthik here. So I'm RHCSA certified, and I'm going to attend RHCE as well. And currently working as a platform engineer in one of the MNCs. And yeah, so on day-to-day basis, I used to handle around approx 8,500 some odd servers. And yeah, so like it involves both Linux as well as, since it is a platform engineering, it involves much more like DB as well as backup, all these infra level knowledge. So yeah, and so the first thing is, what is Linux, right? So Linux is an open source, as everyone might already know that it is an open source operating system. And since it is an operating system, we need to consider a lot of elements, right? So anyhow, as of now, you might be using either Mac or Windows, right? So like any operating system, it will have the basic fundamental components like disk management. So yeah, so disk management, a user management, and process. And so these are all, if something went wrong, you need to troubleshoot that issue, and you need to diagnose it, right? So those kind of issues also, as a system engineer, you will be the one responsible for like so if it is a single server, it is fine, but in your work environment, you need to work around like thousands of servers. So in that case, you will be the spokesperson for those many, or you will be the responsible person for those many servers, right? So that's what, like at least one component might fail for the day. So that's the thing. So you need to be familiar enough to at least know how to diagnose it, or how to approach that issue. So that's the key here. And coming back to the basics of Linux, so Linux is like, once again, it's an a very fundamental operating system in day to day, like all the cloud computing, and almost every so there is a survey like last year, it's like 93% of the servers which are like web-based servers are based on the baseline, or the base server is Linux, right? So it's built on Linux. So if you have this knowledge, and at least it is a basic knowledge only, but still with this knowledge, you can survive with any role. And like it's applicable even for developers, right? So let's say if they are developing and they are pushing to Docker container or something. So Docker, obviously, it will be like CLI version only will be used in most companies. So the CLI version is obviously your commands, or a binary prompt only you will be giving that ad hoc command, right? So that's what, like Linux, almost it's everywhere, and that's the good thing, right? So since Windows or Mac used to monopolize these OS, but still in enterprise especially, Linux dominates a lot. So that's the thing. And once again, why Red Hat? So, and the question is, what is Red Hat and why they are still relevant? So why I am asking it is still relevant is, so Red Hat has been founded like 99 or yeah, 98, during the like 1998. So it's very old company, but still, uh, so since Linux is an open source, they are the one who pioneered to that Linux can be used to commercialize or only for enterprise. So they saw that vision, and so that's main objective of them, right? So it's a good thing, and that's like that's the main reason they still exist. And one of the benefit of having Red Hat or companies why they prefer Red Hat is their uh, like very productive support system. So that's the thing. Okay. So that's what like there are many or many versions of operating system you can call it as. So since like Windows has their own lineup, like it's a very odd lineup. Like it's not like till Windows 11 there is like 13 of 13 different versions are there for your Windows throughout the time. But that's what like depends, right? So Linux, since it is open source, anyone can build their own version. So that's what like. Let me show you the kernel or the very important page. One sec. Yeah. So he is the founder of Linux, who is like Linus Torvalds, and he didn't actually he did only the kernel part. Okay. So the yeah. One sec. Yeah, so if you see here, there is a these many contributors are there for Linux, and all these people combined, they form this operating system. It's a community effort, not a single entity like Microsoft, right? So it is a corporate environment and it is a closed operating system or closed environment. So you can't simply go ahead and change a configuration, or you can't even have a access to do that. Whereas here, since it is like you can do, or you can even create your own version of Linux. So that's what like it's called as Linux distros, right? So if you see here, there is a lot of Linux distros, and almost everyone would be familiar with Ubuntu, right? So since it is like almost similar with Windows, like the user interface and all. So yeah, Ubuntu and Pop OS is like emerging, and a lot of operating systems are there. So why Red Hat is, as I told, Red Hat has their own version of Linux again, and it's a Red Hat Enterprise Linux, right? So it is specifically targeting the enterprise solution, right? So if you see here, they have their own suite of applications as well. So yeah, so you see they have their own cloud solution, yeah, which is OpenShift, and like even Ansible also owned by Red Hat, and Red Hat is owned by IBM. So yeah, like 2018, I guess they acquired Red Hat. So that's what like. So our course would be only based on this operating system. So we won't. So even CentOS, many might have already used CentOS or CentOS. It is a project of Red Hat. Okay, so that's what like you see developed by Red Hat. So that's what like it is a community edition. So the paid edition it will be your this one. So all the companies would be paying for the subscription. So you will see those things anyhow in later session. But yeah, coming back to the slides. So that's the reason Red Hat is still relevant. So people do prefer their support, and it's a very good one actually. So yeah, and this is what like let me show you the topics. But before that, um, so Red Hat has their own certification. So we will be seeing the RHCSA. So the main target audience would be like those who are already working as a Linux admin and trying to acquire this certificate. And it would be just a refresh for you, right? Or a revamp of the basic concepts. And for the people who are new to infra side, this would be a like a good entry point for your DevOps journey or SRE, like site reliability engineer. So for those roles, this would be a foundation level knowledge, right? So if you have the certificate, it would be useful. And it is like a Red Hat certified system administrator. And this certificate is like that's what, like entry level certificate. And if you have this, it's a good thing as well, right? So it would be so it has its own credibility since it is a practical exam. Means you, like, there is no multiple choice like your AWS or GCP, right? So you, unless you know the concepts, you can't attend the exam, or you are not you can't like proceed with further with the exam. So it's that important, right? So yeah, uh, yeah, Michael, you can unmute
Yeah,
yourself. Yeah,
yeah. Hello.
yeah, yeah, I can hear you, Michael.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for your time. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Question.
Mhm.
This course, is it like to help us get a job or to pass the RHCSA?
Yeah, so after this session, you can attend this exam. So it would be the official exam, so not our own or our institute's exam. So you need to register Red Hat, sorry, through Red Hat, and you can approach the exam after our sessions.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah. So, yeah, Shiva. So we will be providing our own institute's certificate, but you can, or if you have this certificate, it's much more credibility, right? So since it is an official one, and the certificate even has its own expiry as well, like within 3 years, you need to again rewrite your exam. So that's what. But yeah, after the course completion, you can request for the certificate of our course, which is like Linux Admin 225. So you can get that certificate for sure. But this certificate, you need to attend the exam, this RHCSA. Okay. So I will show you the fee structure for this exam, right? So after our session, so obviously once you practice, you can attend this exam, right? So let me show you the syllabus part. So yeah, so tomorrow's session or in later session, we'll be seeing the introduction. And so especially as many would already know that, so Linux is all about binaries, and binaries are commands. Okay, so like we will be seeing at least 150 to 180, 180-ish commands, right? So so don't be overwhelmed that okay, there is a lot of commands. It's easy and very straightforward, and I'll be explaining you not only like the certificate point of view. Once you are done, it will be like a at least 1 to 3 years of experience. You can like as a sysadmin, what and all you will be doing on day-to-day basis, right? So those also will be discussing. Not, it is not only targeting only on certificate, but it is tailored around the certificate syllabus, right? So that's what. And the next thing is we'll be installing, anyhow, in next session, we'll be installing, right? So, so I mentioned RHEL 8. So we'll be installing RHEL 8, or you can even install RHEL 9. So both are similar, right? So, and I will be installing in local system, as well as I will show you how to install or initiate a cloud instance based on AWS as well as GCP. So even Azure you can prefer, but one drawback of Azure is they are like you need to pay for it. Okay, so it's not free. Only for the students they are giving $100 for free. Okay, and okay, yeah, Michael. So that's a good question. So the exam will be on Red Hat. So sorry, RHEL 9. It would be. And you, if you register for RHEL 9 exam, you can attend in RHEL 8 also. Both are relevant actually. So there are two options once you register for the exam, right? While scheduling for your date. So you will be prompted that you either want to attend as a RHEL 8 or 9. Okay, so it's your choice, but both are relevant still now. In companies, even RHEL 7 is being used, but it's better to like both the questions would be the same, obviously. Okay, so very few, no, there won't be changes actually. RHEL 8 and 9, there won't be changes. But RHEL 7 to RHEL 8, the exam pattern itself was changed because there is a lot of changes between RHEL 7 to 8. but 8 and 9 are just a user interface changes, which is like not relevant to us actually, since we'll be using CLI. So yeah, moving on. So we'll be seeing the performance monitoring. So why this is a very important topic is, as a sysadmin, you, as I told, you will be handling thousands of server, and you, as a individual, you can maximum monitor like let's say you're monitoring for the whole your shift, like 8 hours, you can monitor maximum of 2 to 3 servers, right? But if you have a monitoring solution like monitoring tool, so that should be in a place, sorry, that should be initialized in your servers, or it would be already there most cases. Or if you are, it is a new company, you are the one who will be installing that, and there will be a dashboard. Okay, and it's very, very important that monitoring solution should be up to the level, because there might be a lot of fake alerts, or even though in a very big enterprise as well, there might be a fake alerts or some issues, but you should be in a position to handle those, right? So that's what, there is a lot of monitoring tools. So I will try to show you one monitoring tool. Okay, so there is a lot of open source monitoring tools, like New Relic is open source, Grafana also, and for the paid tools, so Splunk is for log monitoring. So all these comes under DevOps. Okay, so DevOps. So that's what, like if you're like right away you can't experience, or you can't simply put that, okay, you know these tools, right? So you gradually, once you start working as a Linux admin, anyhow in your company at least one tool would be used. Okay, so in most companies they might use Dynatrace. So it's very famous among the, or it is preferred among the enterprise. Okay, so Dynatrace, a lot of tools are there. I'm just mentioning the famous one. Okay, so Zabbix is there. So I will try to show you using New Relic, like from our VM, we can initiate to the New Relic. Okay, so I will try to show you at the uh, like last 2 or 3 sessions. We will see that. So that's what. And we do, okay, you might ask, okay, only these are all the monitoring tools? Obviously, no. So you have internal tools, like in your Windows, you have Task Manager, right? It's a real-time solution. So like that, in your server also, there is, or in your Red Hat server also, you do have a monitoring solution, which is like top, a lot of commands are there, IOStat, top, and so on. So we will see those things extensively, because in few legacy servers, so what are all called legacy servers are like the servers which are like 20 or 30 years old servers, which would have a RHEL 4 or 5, very old machines it would be. So in those cases, there won't be a monitoring tool. So you are the one who need to diagnose if something went wrong. So in that case, you must have the knowledge of those monitoring solutions, right? So that's what. And yeah, so this is the user management. So in any companies or in any enterprise, user management, if it is a, if the company has a good user management, it would be a best, or it's it's preferred actually, because due to the security reason, it should be much secure, first part, and the next one is like due to the audit purpose, there would be a lot of changes, or this is the most changed component of the whole server it would be, because there would be a lot of onboarding, and many would relieve from the team or project, right? So it will be a constant changes in the mission, right? So that's what, and that's what, like you need to, these are all the how to manipulate with the user accounts. And there are two types of authentication. One is your password based, and the next one would be passwordless. So password based authentication also, you have two options, which is like Active Directory. So we won't delve too deep into Active Directory, since like even Red Hat has their own solution for Active Directory, which is LDAP. And yeah, we will see those things, because if I go too deep into that, it would be a whole session on only user management. So anyhow, in upcoming sessions, we will be covering that. But that's what, the Active Directory is the preferred one in most companies. So yeah. And the next one would be your super user access or your privilege access. So obviously, everyone should not be part of administrator, right? So only as a sysadmin, or if you are placed after a session, you would be as a sysadmin, right? So you will have the root privilege, but there is no need for an application team or a backup team to have the admin privilege, right? So they should have a privilege to run some certain services or their own services, and for that you need to provision the privilege for them, right? So that's what we will be discussing in the super user or that privilege access, right? So, and these are all the basic OS concepts. So this is common in your Windows as well as on or any operating system. You must perform these kind of basic operations. Okay, so it's like accessing a remote system. So in your Windows, you have remote desktop, right? So with this, you can access a remote server anywhere if you have the DNS or that IP, right? So like that, how to access a remote machine using the SSH, and obviously we will do that. We must do that actually. So that's what. And if you want how to analyze a text file, so these are all basic things. So in three or fourth session, sorry, third or fourth session, we'll be seeing those. And this archival. So archive is very, very important, especially for enterprise, because constantly there is a lot of information which will be append or stored, right? So already an existing file will be growing as per the requirement. Let's say there is a log file. Let's say it's a access log. So how many users access the server? So for each second, it will be append, or the file will grow, right? So for the whole day, it will be cumulatively, it will be adding up to, let's say, 2000 lines. So the next day, that file will be overwritten. So you need to back up that existing file, right? So you will be backing up to some backup folder, let's say. So from there, you need to archive it, because that is a storage will be consuming, right? So which is because you won't need that immediately. You might need that in, let's say, 6 months down the line. So you will be saving that, or in any enterprise, they would save that. Each and every logs will be saved. Okay, because that's very important for root cause analysis or any future issues, right? So if you face an issue, you need to know when it was found. So you need to dig deep into the previous logs, or like at least 1 year to 3 years logs will be preserved in most companies. So that's what archive is very, very important in Windows Server also. So that's what. And the next one would be your file manipulation commands, which is like a create, delete, copy. So all these we will be seeing in one session. And yeah, these are all important information or knowledge you must have. So we will go very slow and very, because if you don't understand or if you don't get these things, so you can't proceed further with huge topics like that, right? So that's what. And how the links work. Okay, so hard link, soft link, and then this is an very important one, like file permissions, right? So what are all the file permissions, or how to analyze a file permission? What is UMask value, right? So how to change and how to secure a file with the file permission, lot of things, and how to provision a access to a specific part to a specific user, like those kind of permissions. So all those will be dwell too deep into those things, because on day-to-day basis you will do that eventually. So yeah, and the next one would be sysadmin activity. So these are all like a generic one. So if you having any while you're booting to your machine, so if there is any errors, or if it is not fully booting, so what would be the error? You need to diagnose that. So all those things And in next session, we'll be seeing the booting procedure. Okay. That's what, like during that time, I will explain all these and how to interrupt the booting process and go to the emergency mode, right? So those kind of things. And the next one would be how to identify the if there is a spike in CPU. Okay, so let me go to my task manager. So in this case, so you see there is a spike in my memory. All of us. Okay, let me go to performance. And yeah, so as of now it's stable. So, but if I open one more tab, right? So there might be a spike in the memory, right? So if I open like 50 tabs, it would be like spiking till 90% because that's my threshold, right? So like that, you need to identify which process is responsible for a spike in your any resource like CPU, memory, disk, or your network, right? So which is the or like which resource or which process is responsible for that spike. So that's the important thing. So all those we'll be seeing. And the tuning profiles. So this is not an important topic per se, but still we'll be covering that. And in exam, you can expect this one. And this is an again an important one. So how to locate a specific log file and how to understand it or how to search for the specific events, right? So that's very important because as I told, each and every second there would be a log appending or growing for forever. Okay, so that's what. So you need to be very specific in your search or in that query that exact time you should get or that all the logs during that time you need to be uh, you need to see that, right? So that's what. And then only you can diagnose that issue, right? So that's what. And it's a very important skill for especially your as a sysadmin. Okay. And yeah, so I just mentioned as start, stop, and check the status of network service, but it's for like it's common for every service in your mission. So any service, you are the one responsible for if there is any service down or something issue with the service. So you are the one, and especially it's a system service because there might be an application running or a backup teams their own service they it might run. So you will have the privilege to only provision or provide the status of that service, but they are the one who need to take the decision that okay it should be stopped or started based on their activities, right? So and how to transfer a file using rsync and secure copy and your WinSCP. So all those we'll be seeing in this secure transfer files between servers. And next is the most important of the whole course is that your disk management, right? So in our local machine or in even in our Windows server, we will take disk management for granted, right? So because in Windows, it's very different compared to your Linux and it's not being updated a long time, right? So it's been the same from Windows 7 days. So that's what. Disk management in Windows, it's like only one partition, or you can create multiple partitions. Still, all your Windows related directories, or we will call folders in Windows, right? So all the folders will be residing under C partition, right? So like it's good and bad at the same time. So we will see why in next session, but that's what. In Linux, it's totally a different story because each and every directory, it would be it serves its own purpose. And like, yeah, so there is a folder structure and we will follow that folder structure throughout the whole servers and all the Linux distros also follows that. So that's the important thing. And that's what, like how to provision a physical volume. So if you add let's say you add a external hard drive or removable pen drive. So how to format that? In Windows, you just right click, simple create a simple volume, and you do that, right? So whereas in Linux you can't, since it is a CLI or a okay. Let me explain what is GUI and CLI, and we will be continuing the syllabus. So GUI is nothing but graphical user interface, and CLI is command line interface. So graphical user interface is what you are seeing right now, which is like a you are interacting, or I'm interacting with this icon, and it's respond like it is responding, and I'm interacting with my cursor, and that's also a graphical element, right? So if I want to turn off my machine, I can click here, or if you want to see my like different applications, I can access via that one. And all these are graphical elements, right? And it's a resource hungry one as well, because all these elements should be loaded, right? So that's the GUI. And CLI. So what is a CLI? It's nothing but your command prompt, right? So just go to start and type CMD, and you have a CLI version in your Windows as well. So which is your command prompt, and you can't simply type something here, or you can't select here, right? So obviously you can select, but you can't double click, or you can't interact with the cursor. Whereas only the keyboard is the only mode of interaction, right? So that's what, and it's actually most people don't prefer this one, but as a sysadmin, you don't have a choice. So, and this is far better. Once you start using it, it's far better for the operation perspective. Means like if you want to do multiple tasks, here you can just mention a star. So a star or asterisk. It will be like selecting all the folders and directories. Whereas in your like in a GUI, so you need to select. Obviously, you have shortcuts, but still it's CLI is much more convenient, especially in operation perspective. Okay, so that's what GU and CLI. So I might use these terms a lot. Okay, so that's what. And coming back to our syllabus part, so the disk management, right? So that's what, like, you have a concept called as logical volume. So this concept is there in our Windows as well, but it's least appreciated since Windows has their um, like, so there is a partition style. Okay, so I'm going into too much info in the very first session, but fine. So yeah, so partition styles, there are two versions, which is GPT and MBR. So GPT is nothing but GUID partition table, and MBR is master boot record. Okay, so to be short, that GPT is like the easiest or much preferred nowadays. It is the latest one, and MBR supports the legacy servers, as well as our Linux is based on MBR partition style. Okay, so GPT, how can you can confirm your mission is also GPT is just go right click your disk. First thing, go to your disk management, right click your any one of the disk, and go to volumes, and you can see the partition style is GUID partition table. Okay, so that's what. And yeah, so it's a very important session. So at least 3 to 4 sessions, it will be based on disk management only. So yeah, and the same thing, like how to manipulate with the disk. So how to resize your disk, add, remove, and extend. All these we'll be seeing. And so it's like based on the LVM concept. So what is LVM is logical volume management, right? So how to manage those we'll be seeing. And these two are the advanced topics in that ILV or disk management topics, like status and video are the extended versions of your LVM concepts. So even you can expect these in your exam. Okay. So moving on, your security part. So in any operating system, the very first thing or the last thing anyone would see is how secure is the server or system, right? So that's know, very few companies do um like after getting hacked or after that only they do like allocate the budget for security, sadly, but it is very very important. And Linux is like compared to Windows and any other versions of Linux, Red Hat is much more secure. And yeah, so and in security, you'll be seeing the key-based authentication. And many people who are already using AWS, they have obviously they might have used, they have no other choice. They should use the key-based authentication, but they don't know the full perspective of how it is actually authenticating. They will just download the private key and authenticate it, right? So, but there is much more going behind the screen, right? So we will see how it is actually authenticating, and there would be a dedicated session only for key-based authentication. And firewall, obviously, you'll see how to create a firewall rule and all those. And the next one would be the permissions. So how to manipulate the permission for the like how to secure a file based on the permission. And we have a concept called as SC Linux. So which is there is a concept similar to this one in your Windows, but it's like very few people use that actually. So that's what user account. One second, let me show you that. So user account control settings. Maybe if you familiar with this, it's almost same. Your SC Linux would be. So we will see that it's an interesting concept actually for protecting your files and folders. um, yeah, protecting them. It's like an extra layer of protection for them on top of your basic permissions. Okay. So, and the next one would be how to restrict the user with limited set of commands, and how to restrict the user to access only one path. Okay, so how that works is, let's say he should access only this drive. He can't even access the remaining drives, and even specific only one folder inside this drive, right? So how to restrict that, and restrict based on the commands as well. So all those will be seen. And the next one would be basic networking. So why basic networking is, as many might know, networking is already a separate subject or separate topic altogether. So we won't cover too deep into networking. Like obviously, you'll see the basics of networking and how it's or how to create your own like static IP. All those things we'll be seeing based on the server point of view. Okay, so not too deep into subnetting all those. So in like how to configure it, and even in exam you must expect this one. So it is a very very important question actually in exam point of view. And the next one would be your containers. So Red Hat has their own container solution. It's like called as Podman. Okay, so yeah, you can search for it. Podman is like 99% Docker actually. So you just replace Docker uh, word with Podman. Almost every services, all commands, everything would be the same. So yeah, you can even add this to your resume if you are familiar with Podman. So you can add that. Okay, so that's what we'll see that as well. And lastly, we'll be seeing VMware vSphere. So what is vSphere and workstation? So what is the difference, right? So VMware vSphere is the one which will be used in your work environment, or that is the preferred one. And that's what let me show you that one sec. Just see for the, yeah. That's one. So if you see, this is how your work environment would be. So yeah, it will be on a domain, and you have multiple data centers here, and each data center will have its own virtual machine. So you can even create your own virtual machine under this one. So yeah, so this is how typically it would be. And anyhow, we have VMware Workstation. It is also capable, but you can't expect the same layout or same features in your here. It's much more capable, and this is what it will be used anyhow. So I already have this version installed in my machine. So ESXi 7 I have. So yeah, I will show you anyhow how this works at the last session. So yeah, with that syllabus is completed, and some topics I might extend. So just that security means I will not only cover these. So few other topics we will see anyhow. Okay, so yeah. Satellite manifest, no, Sandeep. So I will show you how to do the satellite patching. Means even that we need to pay for the satellite servers, unfortunately. So I will show you the commands, or I will provide you the commands, but we won't go too deep or too advanced topics. So it is like a beginner and intermediate level. Okay. So so which one are we going to use for this training? So we will be using VMware Workstation if that's what you're asking, Michael. Okay. And yeah, what is the question, Shiva? Like networking? Means we will just configure the networking, okay? Like how to configure the static IP, or how to set up a route, right? So routing and like add the host entries. So these kind of like, obviously this is what you will do as a sysadmin. So those things will be seen. Okay. And so these are all the roles you will be eligible once you are done with the session. So, and let's say you are done with the certificate as well. It's not mandatory, so you can prepare, or you can uh, like you can attend the exam, but it's your choice as well. Okay, so once you are done with those things, you can apply for sysadmin roles, as well as you will be in a path to, or you will be eligible for DevOps engineer and SRE, means site reliability engineer, as well as platform engineer. So you platform engineer is bit specific, that you need to have few platform knowledges, like monitoring means ELK stack, or like it would be very specific, but you will be on the path to explore those things. So after our session, you can start studying your cloud in like any one of the cloud you can explore, and some tools like Docker for containers, for version control Git. So like that, 6 to 7 tools, if you're familiar, you can apply for DevOps engineer as well. But once again, the most important thing is you need not have the whole picture, or you need not to be a master in every tool. So, and even company don't prefer that. Okay, so you just practice, and once you're like 40 to 50% familiar with those how concepts works, you can apply for the interviews, or apply for the companies. Okay, so that's the most important thing, because many think that, okay, I need to master Linux, because even I can't and no one can, since it is a whole operating system, right? If you are taking it too serious, you will be studying for another 2 more years, and still you can't complete that. It's that many concepts are there, and that's what like it's like having 15,000 odd people cumulatively contributed that. So that's the important thing. So it's not an advice. So, but many do think that okay, they need to understand fully, and then only they can apply for interviews. So don't do that. Okay, so that's what. It's at 10 a.m. EST. EST timings one. Just a second. Let me convert that. Yeah, so it would be 8 p.m. IST. So which is like AWS is that used for this course. Yeah, Shiva. So many people in my previous batches did completed the AWS and DevOps, but so like this is a foundation level knowledge, right? So without these, so as I told, CLI, right? So every tool like in your DevOps, so you might have worked on Docker, Kubernetes, and what else? A lot of Jenkins. So all these tools have CLI, right? So all the CLI would be based on your Linux commands only. So once you are familiar with these one, obviously you can like you can understand these further. All these tools you can explore it further. Okay, so that's the important thing. And yeah, so once again, summarizing, it's not a free course. Okay, so you need to, it's a paid one, and it's a 1 hour session, and it would extend, guys. Okay, so it would at least 20 days of session. So based on your doubts and based on your uh, inputs, it would extend. Okay, so the timing would be 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST, and it would be from Monday to Friday. Okay, so you can't expect on Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, and this is the drive link actually. So let me show you that, and we'll conclude today's session. So you just type BI. Okay, let me type that actually. So please do bookmark this link. So bit.ly linexll. Okay, so yeah, please bookmark that. And yeah, so all our resources will be posted in this shared link, and you can get access like it's an open link actually. Okay, so and I won't change this link for now. So you just bookmark it. Everything related to our session it will be posted here. And yeah, so yeah, like first thing, go to this first directory, which is like ISO and VMware, this one, and download the VMware workstation as well as the ISO, the last two files. So the file size would be around 615 MB. And last one, this is the actual ISO or the operating system. So this is for the people who are having the system requirement would be, obviously everyone would be having at least one CPU core, one gig of, or at least 2 gigs of RAM or memory, and 20 gigs of hard disk or disk, right? So you should have these requirements. And like let's say you are attending from your corporate laptop, so you can't install it, right? So for them, you can anyhow, I'll show you how to install in your AWS or GCP. So yeah, and this is the link to enroll for the course. Yeah, I just sent in the chat, and you can check out our YouTube channel. One second. Right, so this is the link to enroll, and yeah, your recordings, everything will be posted in this portal, and this is the YouTube channel. So I just now sent in the chat, so you can check out my previous sessions or anything related to our logic labs, you can check there. And once again, for the people who are who joined late, so this is the WhatsApp group. Okay, so please do please be part of the WhatsApp group. So anything communicated with the communicated for the sessions, it will be through the WhatsApp only, and you can reach out to one of the support person using these numbers. And please, they will be available only during this working hours, like 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST from Monday to Saturday. And all the recordings would be lifetime access, so you can access it anytime. So, any more doubts on the session? Anyone? Yeah, Michael, you can
Yeah,
unmute
so
yourself.
where do we download the VMware?
Okay, so VMware is like the like we will be practicing, right? So since it is a practical, uh, like we will be practically performing the any topics or anything, and even the exam is also a practical one. So for that, we need this tool. So virtually, we are going to use this one. So in tomorrow's session, I will explain you what is virtualization and all,
Okay,
Michael.
okay.
So please do turn on tomorrow's session. So yeah, I will explain what is virtualization and why we need this tool specifically. So yeah, that's what. Like either you can install or download this tool. If you can't, you can wait. I will show you in tomorrow's session how to install in AWS or GCP. Okay. So
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So this drive is
Uh-huh.
open to everybody, or
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do we get it? Can you?
So I just okay, let me send it once
Because
again.
I copied it and I can't get access to it.
Oh, okay.
No,
Let me
I can't
send
get
this
access to it.
as a drive link, as a clickable link also. Let me send.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Now you can, I guess. Yes. Yeah. So now you guys can access this. And recording videos for the demo session, it will be posted in our YouTube channel, Siva. Okay. So yeah. So yeah. Let's see in tomorrow session, guys. So please make sure you download these last two files, VMware Workstation and ISO. So if you don't also, it's fine. So I will show you how to install and why we need these tools in tomorrow session. Okay. So yeah, thanks for turning for the session and thanks all. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Yeah, please do join using the same demo link.